Hey, what's up, guys? King here with PrepSmartKitchen.com, and today we're coming at you with a bunch of green stuff. This is going to be Ghormeh Sabzi. It's a Iranian Persian stew. It's really popular in that region. It's probably like one of their most iconic dishes. And what we're going to do is highlight this bad boy right here. This is a slow cooker, and Ghormeh Sabzi, like a lot of stews, does really well when you kind of slow cook it over a long period of time. So we're going to take advantage of one of meal prep's number one kitchen cooking appliances, I guess. Uh, we're going to throw this thing in there. This is pretty easy to find stuff. If you're not familiar with Persian food, Persian cooking, things from that kind of region of the Mediterranean, well, I mean, that's not really Mediterranean, but kind of, east of Turkey. Um, a lot of these things are going to seem like exotic, right? We got these things right here, like these are dried limes. You need these. You need them. But and then we got a little bit of lamb right here, but everything else, the fenugreek, everything else is really easy to find, right? We got cilantro, we got parsley, green onions, chives, an onion. We got some red kidney beans, salt, pepper, turmeric, some beef. It's all simple stuff, right? We got the jasmine rice. Super simple stuff, not hard to find in a market. I went to a Persian store nearby, which made it a lot easier finding like the limes. You're probably not going to find the limes in like a Safeway or something like that. You know what I mean? Anyhow, what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of process all these greens. Ghormeh is stew, and sabzi I think is herb, so like herb stew. So we're just going to process all of those. We're going to saute them. We're going to get the onion and the meat kind of mixed up, and then we're going to transfer it to the slow cooker, hit that button, and then we're going to just cruise into the easiest 6 hours of cooking of your life. All right, let's get to it, guys. All right, guys, so you can see we kind of have everything all in place. We have our red kidney beans, we have our chopped onion, we have our meats and the bone. That's gonna be real good in this stew. We got our chopped up herb mix. We got our salt, pepper, our fenugreek, our turmeric. We got this pan right here is going to be for the meat. This pan right here is gonna be for the herbs. And in here we got 2 cups of jasmine rice. So we're going to start bringing that up to a boil, and then we're going to simmer it. And we're going to begin preheating some of these. I'll put that on low. I'll put this on medium. So next here we are just chopping up some cilantro. I bet y'all didn't see this voiceover coming. Ho bam! Gotcha. Anyways, we're just gonna chop it up and add it to the food processor. And here you kind of want to make sure you don't totally just jam it in there. Um, because you kind of bludgeon them, it's all gonna kind of bleed out and stuff. Next, we're doing the chives. You'll see I kind of left the tie on it. That wasn't a mistake. I tend to leave the ties on just because it kind of doesn't mean you have to grip them as much. So I kind of just use what I got, cut it up, and it makes it just a little bit easier. So I just kind of lay those on top. Again, I'm not trying to push these all the way down. Next, we are playing around here with some green onion. These are some pretty good ones here too. They're pretty chunky. Anyways, just layering them on top. It's almost like layering like a load of laundry. It's almost similar to that. And then not so much putting the roots of it in. The ends have a stronger flavor to them. And then I just walk away from the camera. I don't know what the hell I'm doing now. This shit is loud. Trust me, you don't really want to hear it. I decided to put this one on mute too. It kind of sounds something like vroom, 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 vroom. Anyways, you're just gonna kind of pulse it a bit. Um, you're not really trying to puree things here. You're just trying to get them chopped up. So you don't want to just like pedal to the metal, like full blast this thing. Kind of put some soul in there. You know what I mean? Just kind of feel it out a little bit. But eventually they'll kind of push around to the sides. When they do that, you might have to open it, maybe, mix it around a little bit. But generally by that point, you're going to know it's all pretty chopped up the way that you want it. So then you're just going to take it out and it's going to look something like this. It's all pretty nice and twiggy and, you know, looks like exactly what you want it to look like, just sort of chopped up, bunch of herbs. And then here we're just going to be taking down this onion. This is just kind of the regular way that you cut an onion. Or I don't know if the regular, just a technical way. I don't know if there's a name for it. This is julienne, maybe. I guess it is. I don't know. I'm just ranting. Cutting an onion, you just kind of go horizontal, vertical, horizontal, or vertical, horizontal, vertical, and you end up with these little cubes. It's pretty handy way to do it. Just makes things a little bit easier, a little bit safer because onions tend to have like this sort of film on them. It's not really the safest thing to kind of put blades on. But next we're kind of getting into the beef. Here we're just it was already in strips, so it was pretty easy to kind of process down. But I'm just kind of keeping them in chunks, kind of what you would expect in some sort of roast sort of stew. Um, that's what you kind of want to go with here. If you go any smaller, probably just not going to notice it in the stew, honestly. So just kind of get them down here. Some of these chunks are they're a little bit on the bigger side. It was a while ago I made this. I'm recording this a year later. I can't remember if I chopped these down a little bit further than that. I could see you could probably do that, but um, that's all you're really doing. And we're gonna do the same with the next piece of meat here, which is the lamb. It's a lamb shank. This one specifically, I had to get at the Persian market. I can't recall if my local or the Western grocer had it. But I was in the Bay Area when I filmed this, so it was already extremely easy to find this. If you're near any metro center, um, this sort of thing's gonna be super easy to find. I wouldn't be surprised if you can find it in like a Chinese store also. There's a lot of lamb and Chinese cooking. So if you don't have any like Persian markets near you, try giving a Chinese shop um, a, a visit, and you might luck out because they do have a lot of lamb and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of cutting around the bone here. Again, we're gonna keep the bone. We like the bone. The bone is our friend. Because especially when you're cooking anything for 6 hours, it's gonna extract those kind of deeper flavors from the ingredients. So, all the meat, vegetables, and herbs, and all the beans, like those are all gonna go through the same sort of deep extraction. But the bone does it the best. Bad to the bone. Let's go. So here, I'm just kind of taking, I don't know what do you call it, the silver tendons. There's shit you don't want to eat. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're taking out here. I don't personally like all that, and I don't really like cutting through it either, so I just kind of remove it. It's just kind of the odds and ends. If you don't want to waste your food, but you do want to trim it off like this, just fry it up, give it to your dog or something. Just don't oil it up too much. They can eat it just kind of cooked. But we're just gonna be eventually giving this the same treatment as the beef, kind of putting in these kind of spots. I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing here. Looks like I started playing around with some of them or getting confused. I'm not too sure. I think is this an example of someone cutting a specific type of meat for the first time? I can't say I've worked with this stuff at this point before, but I mean, meat's meat, it's flesh. It's not entirely different from any other type of meat. Um, I could just see myself on Top Chef just getting blasted for saying some shit like that. Just be like, who's this guy? Get him out of here. If you want to nitpick some stuff, this is the place to go. You can tell all kinds of things are going wrong. But you can see they're about the same size as the beef. Definitely when I was eating this, it was a very good ratio from the beef to the lamb. All right, guys, then we're going to use canola oil. We're going to keep it neutral for this. It's olive oil doesn't really go into this recipe, so we're going to stay away from it and just kind of keep it with a oil that has a high smoke point, because we need to focus on kind of sealing in this meat so that the juices don't get out in this pan. We want them to kind of release in this pot. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to focus more on sealing flavors in here, not so much flavors coming from oils. And the oil is really going to be more also for this herbs, so it doesn't burn, because we're just going to be pan frying that basically. So let's get started. Oh, we're back with another voiceover. Here I'm just splashing the onions with some white wine vinegar. I tend to cook a lot of sauteing vegetables with white wine vinegar. It's a great way to introduce acid, and it also kind of helps prevent burning, and it kind of speeds up the cooking a bit. Overall, it's like bringing drinks to a party. It's just a great thing to do. And then next, I'm going to give it a bunch of turmeric. This turmeric, it looks like a lot. Trust me, it definitely looks like a lot. You have a little clump here that I'm taking out. It's a lot if you were just leaving it for these onions. It would be too much. But because we're adding meat, beans, those herbs over there, and we're throwing it into a big old stew, it's all going to kind of mix and kind of coalesce and kind of mingle a lot better once it gets introduced to the bigger picture. So for now, we're just going to kind of cook it as is. You'll definitely start to smell it when you're doing this. Um, Promise that's not why I walked over to the herbs over there, not because of the smell. Those just needed kind of a uh, toss and a poke also. I'm just kind of mindlessly tapping it with a spoon there. So here we are throwing the meat into it. One thing I am going to be just like any caveman with meat on fire. I'm just going to poke this for eternity. Um, you'll see what I mean. Because there's a bone in there, and because I'm trying to get the onions mixed into with the meat and getting things seared up, it just requires a lot of kind of uh, a lot of stirring. It's a little annoying, personally, but this is a bit of the aftermath. The herbs are still kind of toasting up over there. They're not very heavy; they're very springy, so it's a little tricky to kind of really get enough surface area to really cook them. So that's kind of where the oil helps. It's kind of like you're heating up the oil, and then that in turn kind of heats up the herbs. But they'll eventually kind of toast up and dry out. So here I'm just continuing to poke the meat. Um, Again, this is just some sort of soothing thing that people do. So this salt is not enough. That is the moral of this entire video. That was not enough salt. Remember that scene. It was not enough salt. So like I was saying with the turmeric, it looks like a lot. It's not. That did not look like a lot of salt. It was just like 10 twists, just enough for what's in this pan right here. But then I'm going to completely dilute it with a whole bunch of other stuff, including these beans, which completely cover up the salt. So you do probably not want to oversalt this part, because the amount of salt in this pan right now it's good. It's going to work. But when all this kind of gets transferred over into the crock pot where it's really going to cook for a long time, you're going to want to add another handful of salt to that. And I will remind you of this when we get to that part in the video, I guess. But here I am transferring it into the crock pot. So this is kind of where you'd put the salt in or with the liquid. I was thinking of with the liquid. But me and some of my buddies at work who tried it, also the people that suggested this recipe to me, they kind of agree. I just need a little bit more salt. The sourness was there, definitely, but that was just a blunder, kind of overlooking things as I was considering a new thing to cook. Next, we have the dried limes. You're just gonna poke some holes into these. That's all you're really doing. Just a couple is it. I have like 5 or 6 that are going into here, but these are just 2 that I'm showing you. This one also has like a really big hole in it, so I just kind of tossed it in there anyways. Alright guys, so you'll see here that I have most everything in this pot. I got the meat, which I kind of browned. I got the little dried limes with holes in them. I got the beans and the onions. The only thing we're really waiting on right now is for the herbs. And once those herbs are a bit darker in color, they're going in this bad boy. We have some water heated up. We're going to fill it up to about that onion right there. And we're going to let this thing ride it out for the next couple of hours. We look over here, we got our rice cooking up still. And then we will begin plating things. Guys, it is currently 2:56. I started this at 1:30, including just kind of a few odds and ends and other things like recording stuff like that. This is not the hardest thing to prepare. The time, bigger challenge, but it's not a ton of stuff you're cutting up. It's really just everything that's kind of in the processor here. We're gonna kind of get this going a bit more, but this slow cooker is really going to take care of the brunt of the work here. We're just sort of browning some stuff, putting it together, and then we're gonna let it do the rest. Now, this is getting pretty toasty right here, and it's starting to smell pretty nice. I quite like it. These limes, there's some sort of nostalgic smell to them. I can't really pinpoint it, and I did not grow up with Persian Iranian food, so I don't know where that's coming from. It's interesting. The turmeric kind of has that chalky sort of smell like it usually does. With all the different things in here, you can see it's sort of tinted everything a bit of yellow. I think it's stained our pan a little bit, but that's just what happens when you cook with turmeric. And then we got some fenugreek in there, some dried fenugreek. Couldn't find any fresh fenugreek. Probably just had to take a closer look next time at the Iranian market. And then I did put a sprinkle of garlic in there. That might piss off some purists, but I like garlic and I put it in most everything, so just a small bit. And then we're going to get back to this. Alright, so on camera it looks pretty bright green still, but if you look closer, it's definitely starting to get a bit of toastiness. I'm going to call it here. I'm not an expert on Ghormeh Sabzi, so I'm not going to push it any further. I think what we have is good enough. So we're going to throw it in to our cauldron and really get this bad boy on the road. So we got that in there. And just kind of get all those little crusty bits that are on the pan. Because, come on, we all know that's the good one. And now, we're going to add our water. Not that much. We actually used all of it. Didn't expect to use all of it, but we did. We're going to give it a good stir. Get those limes kind of dumped down in there. And keep it up a little bit more. And look how green it is. Look at this. This is something you want to make for like St. Patrick's Day. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're doing some sort of like Halloween thing, you need like a green soup. Wow, that is pretty. Look at that. Look at that. Oh yeah, I'm excited. So we're gonna put this bad boy on. We're basically at the finish line already, guys. So we're just gonna pop that. We'll put this one right here, and then we're gonna set this thing on. And there we have it. We have it set on low, and it's for 7 hours. We got it in there, and that'll be about 10 o'clock tonight. So easy on the front half. Now we just gotta let it slow cook. We got NBA semifinals tonight, so I mean it's not like the hardest 6 hours of my life to hang out. And then a little bit later we're gonna start packing them up in here with our rice. So I'll see you guys after the game. Yeah, this is gonna get pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to it, guys. All right, guys. It's currently 9:38. It's been a while. We've been rocking. We've been cooking the Ghormeh Sabzi. I'm putting the rice into the dishes, but let's take a look. All right, guys. Here we are right here. I'm gonna pop this off real quick. I can smell it a little bit, but a lot of it's been kind of trapped in here. Let's. Ooh. 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 Let's see. Let's see. Look at that. Smells kind of sour. Look at that. Now, I'm not like entirely sure if I did this correctly. So, but it looks edible. It looks quite tasty. I love this. I love this shank we got here. We're able to just throw the bone in there, really kind of get it working out. So I'm going to remove these dried limes. We don't want those. And then we're going to start putting this into our dishes. So let's go. Alright guys, and there we go. We have Ghormeh Sabzi. This is a really hearty dish. It's got the red kidney beans, 2 different types of meat. It's got rice, a lot of good veggies in there chopped up. Even the cat, she's pretty excited too. So it's pretty simple. You know, you're just grinding up the produce, frying it up, getting the meat kind of seared, get it all together in the stew pot, let it cook real low, slow, a couple hours. I took a bite of it. I'm not an expert making this stuff, but I think maybe a little bit more salt and be a little bit better next time. But this is definitely something I'm going to come back to in the future because, I mean, stew on rice. You can see the rice kind of on the bottom. Really great stuff right here. So I'll see you guys next time. PrepSmartKitchen.com. Later.